we made it to the end of the week. Welcome back to the only live Monday through Friday lacrosse talk show on the planet. You are watching Daily Dive. I'm your host, Michael Carvelis in Guyton, Georgia. It is Friday, April 4th, 2025. So it's 4/4. It happens every year, but it's just cool when it happens now. Alrighty. We are live on 12 on Sports via Twitter once again. You're welcome, Elon. Actually, thank you, Elon, at the same time if we get paid, but we're not. We're also live on 12 on Sports YouTube and Roku and Fire TV. So we thank you for tuning in. Reminder to subscribe to the 12 on Sports YouTube channel for other great shows and live sports. On today's awesome show, Adam Levi, host of Lacrosse Matrix Podcast, father of Preston, so many hats. He's going to help us hype up 3 of the best games in Week 19. Pat Gregoire, Coolback Canada's own, co-host of OTCB Podcast with Teddy Jenner. He'll give you 3 of his favorite betting angles this weekend. And, of course, predictions. My pick'em and the whole crew's best bets. And I'll just say now, me and Captain are loaded with best bets this week, which means we're going to go 0-20 or whatever we have. Alrighty, we want to first let you know before we bring on Adam Levi, that this show is presented by the ticketing platform at 12onsports.com. If you've been watching the show for a while, you know that the link has kind of changed a little bit. Just go to 12ozsports.com, click the tickets tab, or go to 12onsports.com/tickets. It all does the same thing. Get your National Lacrosse League tickets for less, literally for less than everyone else, by going to that website, which also features your favorite artist concerts, and of course, Broadway and theater tickets on 12onsports.com. Without further ado, let's bring in the man himself. Let's bring in Adam Levi. Adam, how are you? Oh, well, it's now you can unmute, but it's not letting.
Alrighty, hey Mike, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. How was your entire week?
It was a busy one, but a nice one. We are coming down to the final stretch here with the National Lacrosse League season. Very excited about that. Disappointed again that Pat is going to outdo me with the hair. I actually meant to go. I was going to the barber today, Mike, and he's away for vacation for 2 weeks. So go.
Bastard.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. But a lot of NLL news was breaking this week. A lot of key injuries happening. A lot of fighting for playoff positioning. So these next 3 weeks are going to be phenomenal.
Oh, I agree. I still feels weird. It's just getting old when we're already in week 19. Yes, we actually are.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. I got to ask you, though, what is the latest on Lacrosse Matrix Podcast?
So we had 2 coaches on this week, so 2 different episodes. Head coach and GM of the Las Vegas Desert Dogs, Sean Williams, joined the podcast. Of course, if you don't know the show, but I'm sure most of the listeners do, there's a number of the week for every episode. And, of course, that one had to be number 51, which is synonymous with the Williams family. And weirdly enough, I was talking to him after he had played coached his 51st game with the Desert Dogs. And he's also turning 51 this year. So just funny how those things work.
The universe is weird, man.
Yeah.
Are you part of the Illuminati? What's going on there, man?
Nope, just NLL scriptwriter, not Illuminati yet.
Oh, that's right. We've been through. That's true. That's a good point.
And then the great conversation with Ed Como, head coach of the Georgia Swarm. And Mike, you'll be very happy to hear this, and I'd love to hear your take on it. Did you know that the New York Titans back in the day, about a couple decades ago in the National Lacrosse League, Ed Como was the head coach in 2009, and they were playing games in Madison Square Garden.
Really?
Yeah.
God, how the mighty fell in Long Island. Is that the Long Island team?
The Titans?
Yeah.
No,
that would be New York City, you idiot.
Yeah, they played out in 4 different arenas, but Madison Square Garden being 34th Street.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and Interesting. The very first game in Madison Square Garden in the NLL actually got over 13,000 fans, so that was exciting. The attendance did drop off very considerably after that, but at least people were excited for the first game there.
Spike Lee in attendance or no?
That's a great question. If I ever meet him at a Knicks game, I will definitely ask him.
Good point. Preston, did he make his picks?
He is waiting until the final minute. He said he's too busy this morning, so he wanted to watch his Bluey and stuff, which is, that's.
Oh.
But yes, they will be out by 6:30 tonight, right before, a couple hours before the first games, which are at 9 and 10 respectively. So there will be times, but definitely go make your picks. It's a tight race for the top. Evan Schemenauer, who does Random Thoughts for Lacrosse Culture Daily, is right in the thick of the race. He actually won last year, so can he make it back-to-back years?
Boo. No, we don't. We want parity, Adam. I think I'm 20. No, I think I'm 45th. I'm 28th on Who You Got.
Yeah.
I'm 45th on Preston's. But, hey, man, when I go 7, I'm going to go at least 5-2 this week. I'm predicting that, by the way. Speaking of
I love it. I hope so. I look, I've dropped down in Who You Got as well. But that is the beauty of the National Lacrosse League. I was just looking at it, and I know we'll be highlighting some games, but both the Buffalo Bandits and the Saskatchewan Rush, 1 and 2 in the standings, are 2 and 2 in their last 4 games. So that just shows you that even the best teams can be beat.
I just for another thing, just besides the games, I have to ask you: did you see a scenario I found where all 8 teams in the playoffs could be 11-7? How is that possible?
I did see that, and I love that you've been doing the could happen. And thanks,
so fun.
As we always say, thank you to Graham Perro and of NLLstats.com. Brilliant work. Probably the most valuable database in pro lacrosse history. So yeah, very cool stuff there. And we'll see what happens. I don't think all 8 teams are going to be 11-7, but I guess it could happen.
Have some have some hope, Adam. All right, so let's go to the first game. We got Calgary, Saskatchewan, Vancouver, Albany, Ottawa, Rochester. Those are the 3 games on slate for Adam. That's what he liked.
Mm-hmm.
So Calgary, Saskatchewan. A few notes here, and then I'll let you get into it. Calgary did lose 16-13 at home on February 14th. I believe that was one of the no love lost games. And then Nick Rose, of course, didn't play because Cam McLeod was in net. So coming into this game, what is your thought with the Nick Rose, and what is your thoughts on this game in general? Calgary and Saskatchewan, that's the first game? Yeah, tonight, 9 o'clock.
Yeah, I mean, so this is an interesting one, and I'm glad you brought up Nick Rose because I think the Calgary Roughnecks are in a very interesting position here. I mean, they do get Tyler Hendricks in the trade, right? As part of the Rose trade. Was that who it was?
Probably.
Totally blanking on who the other piece was.
Oh.
Correct me. But they get Rose in this deal, and they give away picks, and it's interesting because if bringing in Rose ends up not panning out in terms of the Roughnecks even getting a playoff spot, it does make you look back at that trade and say, wow, maybe this didn't really work out for us, and we gave away a really good pick. So that's not great. On the flip side, Saskatchewan, they rebounded off their very, very difficult loss to Halifax with a great win. And they also had their largest crowd of the year, just over 8,000 fans in the SaskTel Center. Is that going to continue to tick up? I think it will, because if you're not excited about what's going on in Saskatchewan right now and you're near the arena, then you need to figure out your priorities, because this team is very exciting. One of the top contenders for the NLL Cup this year. I believe they are challenging the Buffalo Bandits to be the most complete team in the NLL when fully healthy. Yeah. It's a great game. It's a huge rivalry match from back in the day when they were Western rivals, still Western rivals in terms of just geography. So it's going to be a very exciting battle. I think I was writing about it by the numbers for Lacrosse Culture Daily, going to be the 71st time that these teams have faced each other in franchise history. And that includes going back to Edmonton as well. So yeah, these teams know each other very well. Often the battles have been very close. I believe when I was looking it up, 10 of the 26 games they've faced when they've been the Saskatchewan Rush versus the Calgary Roughnecks have been decided by 2 goals or fewer. So, it's always a good one when these two face each other.
I'm glad you mentioned that because I was looking at the team history, the matchup history too.
Mm-hmm.
Curtis Dixon, as a member of the Roughnecks, is like 6-12 against the Saskatchewan Rush, but like he started off like him and Dobie were like started off getting their butts kicked, and then like the last 5 or 6 times they've again been with Calgary, not with San Diego, they've had their numbers. So it's like now you have Nick Rose, and it was only a 3-goal game. We kind of like our chances, but like you said with the Roughnecks, they're 7-8. Which no one even's talking about this. They're out of the playoffs as it stands.
Right.
Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and I would also add that beyond Nick Rose, all of the key unrestricted free agents that they have coming up at the end of the season, you have to think that if they miss the playoffs, all of those guys who, including Dobie and Dixon, who came there and were like, okay, we're going to be there, do they make a different decision? Because if they came there hoping for something more promising and it's not panning out, well, do they move someplace else that is more promising?
Yeah, and obviously, I mean, I don't know if this has been reported. It's not breaking news, but just like the feelers, like the rumors out there with the Wings and Nighthawks. Now, it's not as bad, I don't think yet, but their arena situation in Calgary is also not going to help the players, especially if the CBA does not go the way they want it to. So it's a whole big can of worms.
Yeah. Well, there's always worms around the NLL, and
Woo, love them.
That came out sounding a lot worse than I meant it to in all different kinds of ways, but in some, but yeah, it's always it's been an interesting past for the NLL, and I think the future, although there's some interesting news and notes, as you kind of just alluded to and we've spoken about on this program, I think that ultimately the league will prevail and things will pan out, and then we will all be very happy box lacrosse fans.
Then my April Fool's joke will come true. That's not funny. All right, so come on. Yours was better, to be fair. Vancouver, Albany. Del Bianco is 3-0. Before I thought about I forgot, was it Nick Rose I kind of overlooked. Before I did that, I put Del Bianco 5th in my goalie of the year this week. He's 3-0, like I said. Doug Jameson has allowed 10 goals on the flip side of this Albany game, each of the last 3 wins, which is not bad. Dyson and Johansson, of course, leading my rookie race and probably most people's rookie ladders. This game's fun. What's your thought? I think Warriors are gonna have their way. But is Alex Simmons back? Whole lot of things going on in this awesome game.
Yeah. So as of this morning, the team has confirmed to me that Alex Simmons is a game time decision.
Oh, thank God.
Well, thank God, and maybe not though, because if you look at where they are in the standings, and I know that they're going to compete for a playoff position, but the way that injury looked, it looked very bad.
Yes.
You have so many other pieces. You also just brought in Jonathan Peshko to add some depth and strength to the offense. Do you find a way with the pieces that you have, the Kyle Jacksons, the Ty Kurtzes, the Dyson Williams, to do without Simmons and just let him rest for a little bit to see what's going to go on with the injury, and then give him more time to be evaluated and figured out what the long-term plan is? And then, because if you play him and let's say he plays and it aggravates the injury and they lose and then they're out of playoff contention, well, was that worth it? He is an elite star in the National Lacrosse League who had one of the best rookie seasons ever, having another great year this year. Do you want to risk it on the chance that if you win out and you get some help, you make the playoffs? And he said, okay, I want that to happen. If it was me, I would sit him for at least this game, see what happens, and trust the other pieces. Glenn Clark has built a fantastic team there that's going to do a lot of great things in this league. But I ultimately think the momentum is on Vancouver's side. Christian Del Bianco has transformed this team. It's looking great offensively, defensively. I like what I'm seeing out of Adam Charlamides and Keegan Ball, especially Ball's confidence. You see it in those post-game interviews. I mean, man, he is a star, one of the quietest stars in this league. Very, very humble. But yeah, he's special. And I think in Vancouver, in front of that crowd, is going to be interesting. Although I will say that Will Johansson has been very eagerly awaiting playing in front of his family and friends, as he's from Vancouver Island. I know he's going to have a big contingent there. So does one of the Rookie of the Year front runners, does he have another big game with family and friends in attendance?
I mean, those British Columbia boys like to play at home, I heard from Teddy Jenner, so we'll see.
It's true. They do. And that, again, goes back to the Calgary game. And with all the teams that have BC boys that are free agents this offseason, do they get enticed by what's happening with Christian Del Bianco and Kurt Malosky? He's Coach of the Year for the reason, one of the most respected guys in the industry. Christian Del Bianco, arguably one of the greatest goaltenders in the National Lacrosse League we've ever seen. He is, I think that those pieces alone would entice a free agent to give the Vancouver Warriors an extra look.
I just love a scenario that's probably not going to happen, but since you talk about Coach of the Year, I'm like, that's one award I haven't really looked at too hard yet because I'm more of a players guy, but is there a potential that if Kurt Malosky obviously wins Coach of the Year, he's also up for GM of the Year, obviously, for getting Del Bianco in the first place and making that. No one thought it was going to happen until it did. So it's like, is it possible to win both awards? I'm assuming it is, right?
It is, and they've done it. It's happened a handful of times, actually.
Oh, I hate my. Of course, I knew that.
But I will say, if I have a vote, and I was going to be putting my vote down, I would be giving both of those awards. Although Coach GM Malosky would be my second for GM, and one of my tops for coach, I would give both awards to Derek Keenan of the Saskatchewan Rush.
Well, Jimmy Quinlan's got to have part of the coaching award, right?
Yeah, there have been coaches when there's co-head coaches that they split it. But also,
no one tells me anything.
Yeah, but also coaches, they'll say, and I talked about this with Coach Como of the Georgia Swarm, and also Kurt Malosky the year before. They think the award should be renamed as Staff of the Year because to be a coach, they're just one piece of the puzzle, and they wouldn't be able to do what they do without their assistant coaches, without the rest of the staff that make everything work. They've been quite adamant about that. But in terms of GM, I mean, you look at Austin Shanks coming into Saskatchewan, the rookies that have come on to Saskatchewan that have been great. Now the trade for Frank Chiliano looks to be really paying off. There's just so many reasons why, and then you just look at the record and the way that they're playing Saskatchewan. It's hard not to look at Derek Keenan as GM of the Year.
All right. I told you I had to look at the awards. I got it. I forgot about Derek Keenan. Screw me. All right. Let's go to our final game. This is great stuff, by the way. Ottawa, Rochester. There's some notes I have down for you here. Ottawa's, they're hot, even though they've only won their last two, but it seems like they have to switch somehow. Callum Jones came back in the second. Rochester's obviously won 5 straight. You got Jeff T. Connor Fields, which I low-key think could be an MVP race that no one's talking about. Rochester did smack the Black Bears around 18-8. What is your thoughts on this Ottawa-Rochester heavyweight match?
Yeah, I mean, it's the big news, and I don't know if this is one of Pat's games that he's talking about, but, the news with Rylan Reese being week to week, but also out this weekend. Another injury where it's like, okay, Rochester's doing really well right now. I would say, especially if they can clinch a playoff game without him this weekend, I could see that you could rest him for the rest of the regular season and then have him ready if he can get there by the postseason. Because once they're in the playoffs, I think that they have a roster that they don't need home floor advantage as much as they would like home floor advantage. I think that they can compete with any team, especially if it's a one and done in the first round. But you would want Rylan Reese in that picture. You're right. Zach Higgins has been playing well. He's, the overall Ottawa has looked like the team we kind of thought they were going to be at the start of the season. And Jeff Teat has been on fire. I do think you're exactly right that, at least for Connor Fields, and I know you put out your MVP favorites, finally, unlike last year, I think that this year, if they win at least a couple of their last games here, especially, and they make the playoffs again. If you're not putting him at or near the top of your MVP ballot, that is just very silly. We haven't seen a forward be so consistent with loose ball recoveries since John Tavares about 25 years ago, especially when they're putting up the points that Connor Fields is also putting up. Yes, there's a lot of people around Connor that are playing great. Ryan Smith with a huge game winner against San Diego. Ryan Lanchbury having a career year as a facilitator.
Yeah.
Thomas McConvey taking a step up. I mean, that team is very good. And I think that Ottawa, while they have looked a lot better and Zach Higgins has looked better, Callum Jones on the defense, as you mentioned, has looked very good. He's that spark plug and energy that they need, that tenacity. I do think that Rochester keeps the ball rolling and extends their win streak.
If you give anyone, I'm not kidding about this. We're going to Ryan Lanchbury point. If you give anyone $1 million and ask them, hey, who is like name the 5 players at 100 points right now, I guarantee you the Ryan Lanchbury fan club would not say he's up there. That's insane to me right now.
Well, I mean, he's benefiting from the incredible offensive firepower that team has. And I mean, the best facilitators tend to do that. I mean, you even look at, let's take a guy like Dane Smith, who again is always at the top in assists. Would those numbers be the same if he was on a team that wasn't the Buffalo Bandits with Josh Byrne and Ian McKay playing up front sometimes, and Chris Cloutier and guys like that? And also, go ahead.
No, I'm saying Jake Elliott, once you said it, she was like, clip it! He said it, not me! Go ahead, keep going. Dane Smith, go ahead.
But yeah, I mean, look, that one's going to be an interesting game. I will just say, just quickly about since I was talking about the Bandits, without Chris Cloutier, it looks like, and without Dylan Robinson due to the suspension, which you reported, those are key losses for a Bandits team that has not looked as steady as they did in the beginning of the year. Now, Colorado has their own injuries, but that'll be interesting. Anyway, we could go on and on for so long about all of these different teams, but
sure.
Pat has his amazing betting takes that I need to be cashing in on. So, it's going to be a great weekend of lacrosse, Mike. Very excited.
See, you can do that. I mean, Pat can't, so that's the best part about this entire show is we can do it, but he can't do anything about it. But he can't bet. That's the point. All right. On the NLL, that is. All right. Thank you, Adam, man. Listen, that was fun. MJG79 said they need to put that one and done in the trash. Every day I think about that, I have a different take on that, so I don't even want to get into that rabbit hole right now, but that's a great point.
Yeah,
there's an argument to be had.
I do tend to agree that one and dones have to go. I think best of 3 in all 3 rounds would be the way to go. I think that makes a lot of sense.
Even though Cody Jansen decided to fire up the crowd and say, hey, we should bring that to the minigame.
I love Cody, one of my favorites around the league. I do have to strongly disagree. I think the minigame is a terrible idea. I know the amount of pain. We look at how a minigame affected a championship that the Rochester Nighthawks won and the Calgary Roughnecks lost about 10 years ago, and how much pain that holds against the Roughnecks, and how much they would have loved to be able to play a full game to really decide the winner of that final game 3.
You thought unified standings was crazy. All right, Adam, thanks again. Send Preston our love. Tell him to get off the couch. I mean, come on, Lord, this guy.
He spends most of his day running around like a chicken with his head cut off, so having some screen time for him is actually very calming and soothing for the entire household.
Now he's binging Bluey. Unbelievable. All right, Adam, have a great weekend and enjoy. Yeah, just enjoy your weekend. That's enough for me.
Yeah, Mike, thank you again so much. I'll talk to you next Friday.
Bye. You heard that next Friday as well. So Adam Levy, every Friday, you know it, you love it. Adam Levy LAX on Twitter. Adam_Levy_LAX on Instagram. He's been doing some good stories. I'm proud of him. Instagram is working. Thank you, Nikki. All right, when we come back to this awesome show, let's talk to Pat Gregoire. Got to get to moneymakers.
Don't go anywhere. Daily Dive will be right back.
Need tickets to that next event? Well, at 12 Ounce Sports, we've got them with soccer anywhere in the world. Tickets to any venue, any sport. Want to go to NCAA or NFL football matches? We've got them.
Yeah.
Baseball at every level. Every Power 5 matchup is available. Don't forget, costumes and paint are optional. What's that? You want to go to Broadway? We have those too. Want to jam out? Every concert, every artist. That's right, at 12 Ounce Sports, we've got the tickets for less. 12ozsports.com/tickets. That's 12ouncesports.com/tickets.
Welcome to MyBookie. You're ready to create an account and start making money. And we're here to help. And remember, you can get a bonus of up to $1,000 on your first deposit. Now you're ready to bet. Just go to mybookie.ag, visit the sportsbook, click on your bet, and input the amount you want to risk or win in the bet slip. Yes, it's that easy. Just remember, at MyBookie, you play, you win, you get paid.
America, get back on track with Dust Pod's Performance Stabilizer. When applied to roadways, it kills dust and strengthens the integrity of the road. Easily applied by mixing with water, Dust Pods is the future in polymer stabilization. Call 1-833-DUST-PODS or visit dustpods.com today.
Daily Dive is back in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Honey, look who's home. It's Pat Gregoire. Well, he's not home, but he's in the airport. How you doing, man?
Definitely not home. Maybe the opposite of home, heading to Halifax, which I guess technically has become a home away from home for myself. But excited to get back on the road with Pete Dalladay. He's buzzing around here somewhere. Mackie Jenner is hanging out on the East Coast. We're ready to call the last regular season game in Halifax, hopefully for them, to the fan base, and partially a little bit myself, because I think that arena for postseason lacrosse will be amazing. Hopefully there's a playoff game at some point inside that building.
Yeah, for sure. And Pete Dalladay's always running around like every single time. Like, oh, he's around the hotel. This guy, get your ADHD under control, sir.
We're trying.
Okay. Latest on Coolback Canada, sir.
Yeah, it's busy times, busy week. We've got a couple cool promotions going on. If you want to win a trip to Montreal to see UFC 315, you can head on there, check out those details. The Masters next week. Everyone knows I'm a big golf guy. Huge tournament going down out kind of in your area-ish. I don't know how far away you are from Augusta, but we'll have a 30% profit boost for that as well. So busy times to be a cool bettor, no doubt about that.
An hour, by the way, which is awesome.
I might have to take you up on an offer one time. Sleep on your couch and then go to Augusta. Hopefully, hopefully that works out.
Yeah, we definitely talked about that before. All right, I'm kidding. OTCB podcast was I should know this. Was there an episode this week?
So due to some scheduling conflicts, no episode. But what I can say, don't worry. We still have the folks an opportunity to get ready for week 19. Stay tuned to the social media channels. We're going to have some sort of makeup for it. It's not going to be an episode that you're going to get directly to your phone, to Spotify, to Apple Podcasts, but there will be something on social media. So stay tuned to those socials. We're going to do something a little fun, a little bit different for this week's episode.
You guys are worse than me with your schedule recently, but that's okay.
It's tough, man. It's tough. It's the March to May.
I love it. All right, so let's do it here. We've got some games to get to, betting angles, and first one, we got Calgary, Saskatchewan. I personally like the Rush to win, as I mentioned before, with Adam. The Calgary Roughnecks lost by only 3 goals with Cam McLeod in nets. The value on Cool Bet for Saskatchewan to cover, I noticed, was the best of any book, is plus 101. So I was like, is that where he's going? Unless you're leaning Calgary plus 135 on the money. I was like, where is he going with this? So what you got?
I really just do feel like minus 1.5 at plus 101 is just too good to handle, really. And I understand that there's a lot of history between these rivals. And this game, honestly, is almost at like a playoff level for Calgary. I really don't think that they can afford it. I just feel with the exception of that one blip on the radar going into Halifax, which is a difficult trip, and Halifax probably played their best 60 of the season. Outside of that, you could argue that Saskatchewan has been the most well-rounded team in the NLL with the likes of Buffalo. So for me, this is more of a value play. Would it shock me, Mike, if it comes down to it and Saskatchewan only wins by 1 goal? No, absolutely not. But with the value here, with the way that the two teams are trending, if this was coming right off that Halifax loss, I think I would be maybe a little bit concerned. The offense for Saskatchewan was starting to struggle. They struggled to get to double digits in multiple games. Not the case last game. They've come to life. I really like the way this team is playing, and I think Calgary is definitely up against it. I know they're a great team too. I just think I'm going to go with the value here and take them minus 1.5.
No, I agree with that. One of our crew is going to have that as well. And that was like, that, again, that odds shocked me. Like, even if Vegas is saying, here, take it, you're like, okay, I'll do it. Like, thank you so much.
I'll take the cheese. If it's a rat line, I'm eating the cheese, buddy.
This guy, you and your one-liners, man. TSN, how Dilly died, this guy. All right, good. I like the plus 101 on the cover there. All right, I'm so glad you chose the next one, because the books don't know what to do. We have fooled Vegas completely on the show. Not saying we influenced that. Curse you, Hutton Jackson. So I like for Philadelphia, Georgia under 24.5. That's on FanDuel. Cool Bet, 24 even. DraftKings, 23.5. And Bet365 has it at 22.5. This is bonkers. I don't think I've seen that in the 3 years that I've tried this. What about you?
No, there is a lot of line discrepancy here. I think, the 24.5, it seems like that's where you're leaning. I don't want to say that's like my play for this game. My play for this game, actually, believe it or not, is Georgia minus 1.5. It's not for me, man, just feel I can't touch Philly with a 10-foot pole at this moment right now. They've struggled. The offense is really struggling to score. The defense looked like they were making strides, but now they're kind of getting back to bad habits again. So I think my best play out of this is Georgia minus 1.5. I think they're the better team. I know they've been super inconsistent. I know you've called them out on that. They've been a little bit too Lyle Thompson reliant at a lot of times. But that last game against Halifax, man, I was so impressed just how well-rounded they look, how Dobson looked very poised in between the cage. Caleb Benedict is easily becoming one of my favorite players to watch in the league. Guy's an absolute water bug, buzzes around the crease, picks up loose balls, just a complete hard worker, and he's getting rewarded with some goals now as well. So I'm going to go with Georgia minus 1.5. This is bold. I'm taking 2 spreads here on the favorites in a league that we're seeing there's so much parity. I'm just going to go with the 2. It's a great question. It is honestly a great question. I think we'll find out a lot after this week if they're to lose to Georgia and not really be competitive. And if we see Toronto, who's pretty banged up, go into Las Vegas and lose and Vegas wins, I think Adam's question might actually have to be that it is Philly that is the worst team right now. They just look all out of sorts. I don't know what it is. I wasn't super high on this team coming in to begin with. Just a lot of question marks when it comes to scoring depth. We know at the top of the roster, super legit. I know they address some things defensively. I don't know. For me, I'm not touching it. They got to win first before I start telling people put their money behind the Wings right now. So I'll go with that. And you know what? If we're going off cool bets lines, I still think I'd go under 24 just because Philly's offense is just not the same once it once was. I just don't know how we get to 24 at this point unless Georgia's offense explodes and does a lot of the carrying of the water here.
I mean, I had it at like 22, I think, when I officially scored it, which again means nothing to the people, but it means a lot to me, okay? And so I want to go through my paperwork here about my predictions. It's funny because I actually had the Wings finishing 5-13. I was not high on them either. And then they did this trick where they started 5-2. Like, was that were we just all, was it a facade? I don't know. That was weird. And
it seems like that was years ago though, Mike, doesn't it? It seems like it was. The offense looked great, and I don't know if it's teams have figured them out necessarily, or if they were just scoring at such a very unsustainable rate. I'd be curious to see what the shooting percentages were at the start of the year to what they are now. Let's not forget, they also played Vegas 2 games in a row when Vegas was at an all-time low. That certainly helped. Of those 5 games, 2 of them were against a Vegas team who was probably at the lowest of lows during their season. There have been a lot of lows in Vegas this year. So take it with a grain of salt. This is why I always say to a lot of people, I know 18 games doesn't seem like a long stretch. When you talk about baseball, 1 billion games a season, basketball, NHL, 82-game season. 18 seems, obviously, when you compare to those sports, way shorter. But it still is a long, long season. It's a week-to-week season. That's why when teams start out really slow or really hot, gauge your expectations, because I think the Philadelphia Wings is a perfect example of why we need to temper expectations for the first 5-6. Look at Buffalo the last couple of years. Look at Buffalo, what they've done the last couple of years. Start out slow or have like a little bit of a funk at the end of the season or the midseason. This year's a lot different. They started out hot. Now they're starting to have their little bit of a slump. Again, I'm not really worried about it. I think they'll turn it around as well. So just temper expectations at the start of the season, folks.
I love it. By the way, this is not going to be on my best bets, but it will be on my pick'em. Pat, I'm like the only person in the universe who picked the Wings. I'm not kidding. Like, you're like, I'm going bold on the spread. Plus 155, I'm pretty sure that's more bold on the money line.
It is.
Losses?
Yeah, I think that's what you're saying here. It's like, okay, they can't possibly lose again. Would they?
They're not that bad.
You had a segment this week basically talking about how they've been on cruise control or airplane mode, as you called it. What is it, 0.37% to make the playoffs? I mean, they're all but done. If they can't rally around this, if they can't turn things around, and if they can't pick up a win here, they're not going to pick up a win for the rest of the season. I'm sorry, it's just not going to happen. This is where they got to do it. Their season is beyond playoff mode. It's beyond a must win. There's no choices. They got to win here, and it's got to be in a convincing fashion. So although I'm going on the complete polar opposite side for you, I do give you respect for being so bold and going at plus 155. One of us are going to look really smart. One of us are going to look really dumb. That's the beauty of sports betting.
Woo! Love it. Here we go. All right, so last game that you like is the Bandits and the Mammoth, and I will just say this.
Actually, sorry. One quick thing.
Go ahead.
This is what's going to happen. Georgia's going to win by 1 goal, and both of us are going to lose our bets.
Wow, you're being positive now. It's like
I just thought of that now. I'm like, I mean, that's what's going to happen here. As I said, one's going to look smart, one's going to look dumb. That's not true. There is one small situation where both of us look dumb.
That's sad. Georgia loves those one-score games, especially with Andrew Q. Thank you.
Yep.
I got just a question I just thought of as people were behind you. I thought about this earlier and I forgot. Do people ever recognize the Pat Gregoire in airports, like, at all?
In the airport, absolutely not.
No one's ever done that?
No.
You must be shorter in person. I don't know. That just seems weird. I'm sorry.
Well, that is true. No. I don't know how many NLL fans are buzzing around, to be quite honest right now. So
awesome. That's mean. All right, big TSN guy. Bandits, Mammoth. The only thing I wrote down for this game, the Bandits are minus 1.5 on Bet365. Take my money, just like the cheese with the with the Rush at plus money to cover. Give me the -1.5. It's 2.5 on Cool Bet though. It was 2 on Cool Bet.
2, a solid 2, and I'm taking the 2. I think if
Let's
you can
go.
get it at 1.5, you can get it 1.5. Take it. If this was honestly 2.5, I would take it. 3, I would consider taking it. This is a get right spot for the Buffalo Bandits. Where everyone now is starting to doubt this group, saying, you read the comments and take it with a grain of salt, folks. But you read the comments right now on some of these posts that, Dane Smith needs to pass the ball. He needs to stop shooting. And Matt Vince is washed. And they need to trade John Tavares. It's like, guys, you lost 2 games in a row. It is fine. You lost 2 games against 2 pretty damn good lacrosse teams as well. But this is where I think Buffalo turns it around. They got those 2 losses out of their system. They're going to go into a building, and they have a lot of struggles over the last couple of years in the playoffs. Even though they won championships against Colorado, they won a championship against Colorado. That was a building that they've got a lot of demons inside that building. I think they're going to try to exercise those demons. They're going to capitalize on a very banged up Colorado team, which I give credit. They did not go down with a fight against Saskatchewan. Ryan Lee is doing everything in his power to keep this team afloat. That is a little bit scary when you're looking with that backdoor cover because Ryan Lee's not going down until he hears the bell. But I just feel like this Buffalo team wants to prove to the doubters, which I can't believe there are a lot of doubters right now, that this little midseason lull is just a lull, and that this team is still a team to reckon with. This is a team that is one of the most powerful offenses that we've seen ever in the game of lacrosse. It's one of the most impressive defenses. Matt Vince is the greatest goaltender of all time. You put that all together. This group, believe me, as much as they say we're not listening to the noise outside of this locker room, all we care about is ourselves. That's true. They do. They have a tight-knit locker room. But those guys also read the press clippings. Those guys hear it. They use it as motivation. They're going to be so motivated tomorrow night at Ball Arena. They're going to want to stuff the score sheet. And I think this could be a blowout in favor of the Bandits. And everyone's going to say, uh-oh, they got their swagger back.
Uh-oh. Yeah, no, I also believe that. Here's the thing. I just want to run down the road games for the Bandits this year because I remember all of them like they were yesterday. To begin the season, their first 2 games, 15-7, 18-7, Rochester, Ottawa. Those teams usually have good offenses. Buffalo didn't give a damn. So they go on some 4-game streak at home. They played Toronto Rock. I have a tweet that goes viral because I said, imagine if the Rock lose down 5-0, poking fun, and I still got roasted. That's their third road game. At San Diego, what'd they do? Oh, week before we lost, let's beat them in their building. At the Rush, one of the best teams in the world. No, 9-7, easy money. Just lost to Calgary. How we do on the road? Beat Calgary the next week and killed them. And then at Albany, forgive me, Dyson Williams has a great Tucker out game. That's their roadmap this year.
I know, and I would also argue that Albany was kind of a pseudo home game because how many stinking Bandits fans were inside that building, right? So this, for whatever reason, this team's 6-1 on the road. They've scored 89 goals in 7 games on the road. I know they love playing in front of Banditland. I know they love hearing Swenny, their PA announcer, give out all those chants. But for whatever reason, when this team gets on the road, they play maybe a little bit looser. They play a little more carefree. And they have proven that when they're on the road, they mean business. It's a business trip. And that's what this trip to Denver is all about this week.
They've allowed 62 goals on the road this year. That's insane.
That's even more impressive than the 82 that I said. Like that's insane. That's nuts. Defense travels. You hear that all the time in the NFL. That's certainly the case for the Bandits. The defense has been traveling this year.
Love it. This was fun. We got 3 weeks left, man. This is unfortunate, but also amazing at the same time. And have a call this week with Pete and Mackie. And if
be a lot of fun.
Floor again, we'll also be excited for you.
Not on the floor, back up in the perch. I know you threw that tweet out a couple weeks ago about us calling the game from there. A little peek behind the curtain. We actually don't call the game from up there. That's where we do all our on-camera hits. We actually go up. No. We actually go up 2 flights of stairs even higher. So we're even higher than that. But we also are on the middle of the floor, at least there. We can see everything. Beautiful sight lines. But it's up there pretty high. That little perch in the corner, that's a piece of cake compared to what we do. But yeah, no, that building's awesome. It's a lot of fun. It's going to be rocking. From what I've heard, it's going to be another fantastic crowd. And I know a lot of folks have already told me they hope that this isn't the last game played in the building this season. It will be for regular season, but they're hoping for some postseason lacrosse on the East Coast.
Pete and Pat are the real Thunderbirds that we never knew. It's a height joke. Okay, thank you, Pat. Have a great weekend, man.
Usually I don't like height jokes, but that one I do.
Oh,
if you know what I
short
mean.
and stocky, this guy. Thank you. Thank you so much, man. Back with everybody at P. Gregoire on Twitter, at P. Gregoire22 again for some reason. I always make fun of that. On Instagram. When we come back, it's time for picks and best bets. You don't want to miss the card that me and the boys have dueled out today, including my first ever lottery on the show. The lottery? You can't win those. I'm thinking you might. We'll be right back to Daily Dive. Don't go anywhere. We're going to wrap it up next.
Don't go anywhere. Daily Dive will be right back.
You need tickets to that next event? We've got them. That's right, tickets.12ozsports.com. Get you to any sporting event, concert, theater event that you can think of. And the promo code 12OZ or ROME gets you an additional discount. Don't feed the massive ticket corporate machine. Go to tickets.12ozsports.com and enjoy the show. America, get back on track with Dust Pod's Performance Stabilizer. When applied to roadways, it kills dust and strengthens the integrity of the road. Easily applied by mixing with water, Dust Pods is the future in polymer stabilization. Call 1-833-DUST-PODS or visit dustpods.com today.
Daily Dive is back in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I don't know why I keep doing that. Okay, and see. Welcome back to Daily Dive, the only live Monday through Friday lacrosse talk show on the planet. Reminder, we have an audio-only podcast version of the show. Head to Spotify, search Daily Dive. Thank you for tuning in via 12 on Sports, via Twitter, YouTube, Roku, and Fire TV. Go to 12onsports.com/tickets or 12ozsports.com and click the tickets tab to get your sport tickets for less. This is going to be a really dumb thing, but Pep Boys, a little auto parts store, used to have this commercial on radio that says Pep Boys does everything for less. So 12onsports.com/tickets gives you tickets for less. Really stupid thing that you didn't care about, but I did. It's time for our predictions. Full disclosure, I was busy making another graphic, and I totally forgot to do my pick'em graphic, but I will tell you my picks, and I'll post it later. I've got the Rush to beat the Roughnecks. I've got the Warriors to beat the Firewolves. Give me the Thunderbirds to beat the Seals, and the Rochester Nighthawks to beat the Black Bears. I've got the Wings over the Swarm for no reason besides my own. And just, well, they can't lose 9 straight. Bandits over the Mammoth, and the Rock to laugh and carry on and drink beer while smacking around the Desert Dogs. Animal abuse reference for no stupid reasons too. All right, so The crew has made their best bets. Leroy had one of the best weeks last week. I had a bad week. Leroy went 2-1. He's now 13-9. He's got the Rush -1.5 against Calgary. That can be found at +101 on CoolBet, as has been discussed. The Rush to cover. Albany, Vancouver. He's back on the Albany bandwagon betting-wise, but he's going to go over 21.5. He's got the Swarm to cover 1.5 against the Wings. That's -134 on FanDuel. And the Bandits, he'll use that 1.5 against the Mammoth on Bet365. Again, the only place you can find that bet. Captain went 3-2 last week. He was so confident in that, he gave us 2 parlays. Now, his straight bets are as follows. The Roughnecks and Rush, under 23.5 on Bet365. The Seals to cover 1.5 against the Thunderbirds. That line also only available on Bet365. So again, Roughnecks under 23.5. Seals to cover 1.5. To cover, not, again, they're covering that game. And the Nighthawks money line against the Ottawa Black Bears. The first parlay, and both these are on Bet365. The first parlay is +501 odds. Nighthawks -1.5. Wings +2.5. And the Bandits -1.5. The next one is +1141. It's Roughnecks Rush under 23.5. Firewolves Warriors over 21.5. Nighthawks Bandits Rock money line. And now it's time for my best bets. If you can get through all those numbers, I love this number show. I'm 37-24 after a 1-3 week. But I was like, you know what? I've got room to spare. Even if I go 0-7 for like the 0-5 straight backs and then the 2 parlays, which is how the records work here on the show, I would still be in the green. So my 5 straight bets are as follows. Warriors money line against the Firewolves. It's a bit steep at -170, but it's not bad. It's about my limits as far as I'll go in terms of like the straight bets. Give me the Nighthawks money line against the Black Bears. Give me Wings Swarm under 24.5. Again, I know I picked the Wings to win, but I think that number is too high. So I got Wings Swarm under 24.5. Again, the only place you can find that number is on FanDuel. Bandits to cover 1.5 against the Mammoth. And again, that number of 1.5 can only be found on Bet365. And give me the Rock to cover the 2.5 against the Desert Dogs. That's -110 on FanDuel and Bet365. I've got 2 parlays that will count as 1 bet each. This is not my lottery. A +387 on FanDuel. Simple, but does a trick. Give me the Rush Roughnecks under 23.5. Bandits money line and the Rock Dogs over 22.5. Give me a +179 2-legger on FanDuel. Bandits money line, Rock -2.5. And now, the reason I missed the pick'em graphic, I was working on this bad boy. My +1218. You're like, Mike, was this going to be every week? In case you're wondering, it's not. But I will say that I love the slate so much this week. I had to see what this was worth, and I was like, oh, yeah. So from FanDuel, +1218. Give me the 5-leg parlay. Warriors money line over the Firewolves. Nighthawks money line over the Black Bears. I think both those teams will flex their muscles. Give me the Wings Swarm under 24.5. Give me the Bandits money line. And give me the Rock to cover 2.5. If that hits, I will be on fire. On fire. I'm telling you right now. Even if that's the only thing that hits for me, oh boy, I cannot wait. I'm telling you, I have so much confidence. Like, this is not just a random parlay. I was like, I firmly believe those 5 bets will hit. And if they do, you get +1218. Like, come on, man. You're welcome, by the way. You're welcome. Alrighty. This has been another fun Friday edition of Daily Dive. We thank you so much for tuning in. to this show each and every day via 12-ounce Sports, which offers great shows and live sports. I'm telling you guys, we got some great stuff on here, and I like to be entertained too. We got some entertaining stuff. Reminder to follow this show on social media at Daily Dive LAX. You can see that in the corner if you're watching live. There you can see our all kind of stuff on there, like our updates to the show, hot takes by me, the accounts of Leroy and Captain. You can also see the graphics, reels, etc. All of that, Daily Dive LAX on Twitter and Instagram. And while you're there, if you want to check out the merchandise for the show, we do have some reasonably priced merchandise. Go to the link tree in the bio and click the shop, or go directly there at dailydivelacks.creator-spring.com. Thanks so much again for watching all week long. Well, 4 of the 5 days. I'm sorry again. We'll see you Monday, same time, same place, as the playoff race heats up even more on Daily Dive. We appreciate you once again. Have a great weekend. And once again, this has been Daily Dive. Bye.
Thanks for watching Daily Dive. See you next time.